Welcome to Mindless Entertainment. My name is Jesse Milestone. Game of Thrones is finally done, and I just have a couple questions, just a few that range from sort of more minor to more major, from more plot and character based to more technical show structure. So we're just gonna kind of go vaguely sequentially. I may bop around a little bit because I don't know, there's so much going on. Who knows if I can even remember all this? So let's just start. Let's just start from the beginning because like I said, have some questions. One, how is the Red Keep still so intact? We saw that thing crumble down to its very foundation in the last episode, and yet the throne room, aside from the wall, seems perfectly fine. The council chamber where the hand meets seems totally cool. Aside from a little bit of rubble, that whole big map floor that we saw crap crumbling on top of in the last episode is just right there. And then, okay, so Tyrion now goes underneath, where we saw Jaime and Cersei just crushed to oblivion by that. How does he even get there? That all toppled. Why is there still a floor above it? Because the fun thing about ceilings is that if the ceiling doesn't link to the roof, the ceiling becomes the next floor. So when you see the entire ceiling collapse, odds are there's not a floor anymore, but there's still a floor that he just walks right under. Apparently, in spite of everything collapsing, it was really easy to just walk back up the stairs. Why didn't Jaime and Cersei do this in the last episode? I don't know. Okay, so they're buried by rubble, except they're really not. They were at the bottom of this basement area with a ceiling collapsed upon them. How come they're sitting at the top of the rubble pile? That's not how it works. They're not ping pong balls in a bunch of soil that you shake. Unless there was just an earthquake, and because Lannisters are obviously lighter than bricks, there was just an earthquake, and the brick shaking made them float to the surface. This is why. How is it just how it's okay? I know it's little, it's nippy, but it's totally illogical. Totally illogical. Okay, second, so now we come back out, and Daenerys is all like, "I'm the queen of everything, full-on psychopath, hooray!" Where? Once again, we addressed this last time, but it bears repeating. Where did the Dothraki come from? Because there are more. There are so many more. I guess you just get Dothraki from Amazon now. Wow, Prime is great with that 2-day shipping. Just wait a couple days, more Dothraki. Huzzah! All the Dothraki. And once again, didn't a bunch of the Unsullied die? Didn't we learn they lost half of their army or whatever? There's a F-ton of Unsullied still at her command. So that's great. All right, and in the previous episode, we saw that Daenerys doesn't really take any time between, hey, you betrayed me, Dracarys. So how come Tyrion gets thrown in jail and not marched immediately in front of Drogon, who's conveniently right the F there and burned alive at that very moment? Because we know she likes to make an example out of traitors. How come she doesn't do that? We know, based on her conversation with Jon later, that she has absolutely no intention whatsoever of betraying or of pardoning him. So why? Why is he in jail at all? Why? All right, and then we have the most logical thing that happens in the entire show, which is Jon finally manning the F up, in spite of the fact that he just looks constipated from the beginning of this episode straight through the end of this episode. I guess he had some pooping problems, poor Kit Harington, but for Christ's sakes, the same face the whole damn episode. But anyway, so he does the only really great thing in this entire episode, which is that he just knifes Dany because someone had to frickin' do it. Someone had to wake the F up and realize someone's gotta stop this crazy bitch. Maybe we shouldn't just blindly follow her anymore. Hooray. So that was great, but then immediately afterwards, Drogon is just I'm gonna burn not you. Well, I mean, obviously he feels some loyal to the fact that Jon's a Targaryen, I guess. I don't know why he doesn't kill Jon on the spot. I also don't understand why his fire is no longer ballistic. We saw it blowing up rocks in the last walls, stone in the last episode, blowing it up, and now he fires it straight into a wall and it doesn't move anything. It just conveniently melts the Iron Throne. What a great metaphor for the wheel that Dany wanted to break being broken, even though it was the sign of her corruption all along, and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I'm sure they were going for something with that. Anyway, so here's my question in this scene. 2 questions. 1, how come they couldn't afford good special effects for their little lava melts for their molten throne? That was utter dog shit. I can't even draw. I could have probably drawn lava that looked better than that. Why could you not get good? You can do a freaking direwolf. You can do a goddamn dragon. But you can't do a little bit of hot molten metal? All right, and then also, why is anything in here on fire? Because he does all this, and then you see that whole room is just engulfed, and it's just on. There is nothing in there left to be on fire. Everything is already burned. The only things in this room are metal and stone and ash. Ash can't be on fire because it was already on fire. Stone can't be on fire because it is not flammable. And we already turned the throne into molten metal because that's what happens. It doesn't catch on fire, it melts, which is why we saw it melt, but then also be on fire. I guess there could be a few flames there, I guess, but it didn't melt all over the place. There's no reason that all of this ash, everything is just covered in a mountain of ash, which realistically should be snow, because there's no reason that winter should have just fucked right off when they killed the Night King, but it did, so we know it's not snow, it's ash. Why is ash burning? The whole point is that ash is stuff that has already finished being burned. Oh, God, we're like, what, 20 minutes into the show, and I'm already losing my effing mind. It doesn't get any better. So from this point on, all right, why don't the Unsullied kill Jon immediately? Are they worried about bringing the wrath of the North? Who gives an F? No one else in the Seven Kingdoms knows what happens except for the North. And as we've established through many other things, they definitely have the manpower to just kill all the Northmen anyway. And they don't care about it because Daenerys' version of mercy is murdering everyone. And Grey Worm, by the way, has just gone straight psycho. Way to honor your loving, tender girlfriend's memory by just becoming a psychotic killer person. So also, why doesn't he just assume control? Why doesn't he just name himself king? He was the second in command. He's the military commander. Why is he bowing to the council of these people? Why did he summon them in the first place? Why are they even there? Doesn't make any sense. So Tyrion alive, bargaining chip, fine, maybe. All right, you could argue, okay, I guess you keep Jon alive as a bargaining chip. That's the only thing that makes sense, even though he's like, no, I'm not going to give him to you anyway. So what did you use him for? What was the whole purpose of bargaining with him anyway when you didn't even get anything out of it? You just wanted to not pardon him, but you didn't want him to go free, but just we're cool with sending him to the Night Watch. Like, it doesn't make any sense. None of it, especially, like, also, at this point, too, this whole succession and what are we doing with Jon Snow? Why did you care in the first place, Grey Worm, if you were just gonna fuck right off to Narnia or wherever the goddamn place you went? You just took all your Unsullied and left. Who gives a crap? And once you did that, why not just pardon Jon? You were leaving. You could just let the Unsullied leave. Be like, all right, Jon's going to the North, cool. And the second they float away, be like, psych. Also, like, the North, the North declares independence. Why wouldn't the North just be like, asylum? Sansa's just like, hey, by the way, you totally have asylum in the North. You can just come here and not be part of the Wall and part of the Night's Watch. We're not going to turn you in or anything like that because total sovereignty for the North, which if you didn't see that coming, that was clearly coming from the beginning. And it was just I was thinking, I was like, break apart the Seven Kingdoms. That makes sense. Dorne should be independent. The Iron Islands should be independent. The North should be independent. That made sense. But the way I was just like, oh, North's gonna be independent, and River's just like, okay, whatever, no fight, no thing. And so that's the whole thing, too. All right, when Sansa declares herself independent for the North, why doesn't Yara do that for the Iron Islands? Why does she bend the knee when she made it clear when there's been a whole point since the whole, everything started to crumble in terms of the Baratheon, Robert Baratheon dying and whatnot. Once the Iron Islands were like, we're going to be independent again, they were like, we'll never bend the knee again, just like the North. So why didn't Yara be like, we're independent too? Like, why was she like, okay, I was loyal to Dany and I don't give a crap about any of you people. And we just saw that the North can declare independence and that's totally fine. But yeah, whatever, sure, I'll bend the knee because that just makes sense. What the hell is the point of having the Tully uncle, pop up just to be like, I should be the ruler, just to shame him down? What was the point of being like, let's make a joke about why democracy will never work? For no reason, just stupid wasted drivel, stupid wasted time. What is the point of that? Okay, and so I get the whole, like, Bran knows all, so, like, maybe he didn't say anything ahead of time. He knew he was always going to be the king, but he didn't say anything ahead of time because, people got to do the people things. It's like the God character conundrum. If you have the character who knows all, they can't just tell. It's the free will conundrum, right? You can't just have them tell everybody what's going to happen because that removes the element of free will and it removes any interest or whatever, and it makes your character just way too powerful and pointless and useless. But anyway, you pointedly had a part of him being like, I can't be the Lord in the North, when he came back and does like, I'm the Three-Eyed Raven, I'm not a Stark anymore, I'm just the Three-Eyed Raven now, so I can't be your Lord of the North or like rule lands or have a title or anything like that, ha ha ha. But like, totally can be the king of all of the Seven Kingdoms. There's no reason he couldn't have assumed a Lord type or ruling position in the North in the interim. That wouldn't have affected anything or ruined anything. Sansa easily could have, that's the whole point, was like, I've got to step back and let Sansa have her moment now so everyone knows she's a good ruler for the future for when she succeeds, which means you just justify all of this now because Bran knows everything. And by the way, Bran the Broken? Who came up with this? He has a name. He is a Stark. He is a pureblood Stark. You don't gotta call him Bran the Broken just because it sounds cute or something. Like, why Bran the Broken? Why not Bran the Three-Eyed Raven? This is your goddamn king. What a shitty nickname to give your king. Why didn't you come up with a better nickname than that? So, whatever. It's not like a super shocker. Oh, that Bran rules. Like, he is the most obvious choice. He is, no question, hands down, the most logical choice. He's the person who literally knows effing everything. The thing is that being the most, just because he's the most logical choice, the most intelligent choice, doesn't mean he would ever be the choice. In what universe is everyone like, oh yeah, Tyrion, prisoner of war, thanks so much for that great advice. We'll just all bow to the cripple kid because it totally makes sense. And since when is everyone just totally on board with the Three-Eyed Raven thing in the first place? Oh yeah, this is Bran, also known as the Three-Eyed Raven. He knows literally everything. Cool. Yeah, totally. We just all buy in and believe it. No problem. There's no issues there. Why is that not an issue? Why is this not a thing? Anywho, all right, moving on. Where are we even now? So the Unsullied are fucking off to Narnia, and you got this nice little, this is like great. I mean, I don't know whose idea was it. I don't know if any of this is actually taken from Martin's original conception, because we do know, if you read the books, you can tell that George R. R. Martin is a Tolkien wannabe hardcore. So now let's just not hide it anymore. I know this Benioff and Weiss just nod to that fact. Be like, we know Martin likes Tolkien, so we're just gonna copy and paste some parts of the end of Lord of the Rings. Little Grey Havens moment where Arya's just like, I'm going west, which is like, why are you just coming out with this now in the middle of like, oh, bye, Jon. Oh, hey, by the way, Jon and Sansa and Bran, though I don't have to tell you because you know everything. I'm going west for no apparent reason. No apparent reason whatsoever, except that, at the end of Lord of the Rings, they go west or something, and everyone's just like cool with it. Everyone's just like, all right. I mean, okay, Arya wanted to go explore the big wide world. Fine. Why west? Why any of that? Who cares? She's a pirate queen now. We should just all be excited that Arya's a pirate queen. Watch the adventures of Arya the pirate queen. That's be a great, you know why? Because it'll make a great spin-off series. That's why she gets to go do that. Duh. But like, no one questions it. Sansa's just like, cool, bro. And Jon's just like, cool, bro. You got your sword? Excellent. Guess you got all you need. Go build a ship and be an effing pirate queen. Which, by the way, fast forward a moment or two here, right? How come she has, because the Starks kind of classically don't really have a fleet of ships. That's not a thing they have, so they got to build a Stark ship because it's got a wolf on the front of it. Unless you just had some parts lying around. I don't know, or maybe they just had a ship hanging out somewhere by one of their, coastal ports and stuff. Like, I guess they could have a ship or two or whatever. But anywho, so she has time to get back to wherever coast she's sailing off from, get on a Stark ship and float away. But her head, that wound on her head doesn't even have to scab over and scar. That's still like a fresh, bright red, practically bleeding wound. It even looks like it has like some blood coming out of it at points. Like, why is she still bleeding from the forehead months later? That wound is infected. She's going to be dead. That's not how that works at all. All right, so moving right along. So now we're all happy. Once again, Lord of the Rings references, pull out the book. Oh, look, we wrote this book called The Song of Ice and Fire. Look, we're being so self-referential and clever. And oh, no one wrote anything about Tyrion, and isn't that weird? Let's all have a guffaw. Let's all say our titles out loud. So we reference the fact that we're rebuilding this world in a weird circular way where we're trying to break the cycle. And so we have the good people doing the jobs, but they're the exact same jobs that we had before. And oh, how nice is it that Brienne gets to be a gold cloak finally. Good for her. Huzzah. Why does Bran even want to be on the council of anything? He doesn't want that. He just wants to F off to his castle and fuck some bitches. What is he even doing there? That doesn't even make sense. Just because we want to have some quippy little moments, job of having those quips. We can't make fun of Varys not having a dick anymore, so we gotta make jokes about whores and brothels, because I don't know. I don't have answers. I just have all of these questions. And then so we go to the end, and Jon, you're going beyond the wall with Tormund, because I don't know. I mean, at that point, why didn't you just stay with Ygritte from the beginning? You just could have effed off in that cave, just fucked by the waterfall, and everything pretty much would have turned out probably the same way. Because you didn't do a whole hell of a lot this entire, you did some stuff since then, right? Since the Ygritte thing. I guess there were some important things, winning the battle, etc. But, what'd you go south for? Why'd you stick around up there from the beginning? Why'd you even go south with Dany? You weren't going to bang her anymore after that point if you found out you were wrong. Which also, by the way, what the hell was the entire point of you being Aegon Targaryen in the first place? You never did anything with that information. That information was literally only there just to cast some seeds of doubt about Daenerys' rule, which you didn't need because she did that aplenty by literally causing a holocaust. You know what the word holocaust means? It means death by fire. That's what she did. She brought a holocaust onto King's Landing. Daenerys is just Hitler now. Except even Hitler 2.0, because she's actually Aryan in her features. Hooray. Literal holocaust. Good for you. Like, we didn't need to cast any doubt on your, on if you were the best Targaryen to rule, because you were just not. You were just a terrible ruler. You're just a total effing psychopath. Which, like, once again, great way to take us on that nice little journey. Nah, just like, oh, she's going crazy. She's going a little crazy. She might have snapped. Yeah, she's totally on full fucking psycho now. So, blah. But once again, Jon being a Targaryen meant nothing. It had nothing with that plot line. That really had nothing to do with anything at all. Why didn't that come up in the talks about succession? Like, well, Jon is in prison, but he was really the rightful ruler after all. So that's a really good reason to not, keep him in prison or execute him. I don't know. Like, you throw it to your queen, but he's family and blah. Like, why? I mean, who knows this and who doesn't know this information? And wouldn't this information maybe have been helpful? I don't know. Apparently not. Because at least he scritched Ghost. I guess we can be happy about that. At least he gave Ghost got his scritches. So at least Ghost gets a happy goddamn ending. And while Arya gets to float off and be the pirate queen in the west, Ghost is trotting off to be the pirate queen in the north. That's Ghost's happy ending. And Jon's just gonna go be a wildling, I guess, because F the Night's Watch, which, like, why is there still a Night's Watch? Why would he just immediately, it looks like he comes back and everyone's like, oh, we're just kind of following your lead now. Just come back and be our Lord Commander again, I suppose. Even though, like, all the stuff, but, like, whatever. But, like, again, why is there even a Night Watch anymore? The whole point is to protect the realm from the White Walkers, and now the wildlings are our friends, so you don't need to protect it from the wildlings anymore, so what's the point of it anyway? But who cares, because Jon's just off being a wildling like he wanted all along. He's gonna find some hot redheaded chick and screw her by a waterfall, because nothing he does matters or means anything, because his character's just a giant vagina now, and that's fine. I mean, realistically, there have been hints and leanings towards Jon being a giant vagina from the get-go. He's always been very naive about a lot of things, and instead of just actualizing him and finishing that beautiful arc, because this is the thing the show doesn't like, arcs are no fun. Why would we have arcs? Why would we take, Grey Worm and turn him from this, unsullied war hero into this softer, more, family thinking man who wants to build a life with Missandei and go back and see her home, and, even though he can't make babies, still just have this happy retirement? Why would we do that when we could just regress him right back into being a psycho warlord? Why would we have Jon, actualize and become the ruler and the leader he was always meant to be? Because, in spite of his reluctance, that's the whole beauty of the epic journey. It's the reluctant hero, the one who doesn't want it, who's the one who's supposed to do it and has to be it. Why would we do that when we can just regress him right back to being the outcast who just doesn't fit in anywhere? Why would we further his character arc at all? Oh, Tyrion, look, he's just the Hand again. It's ridiculous. It's just like, why? What is the point? What was the point of doing any character development ever? Like, the only person who realistically ends up in a very different spot than they were at the beginning is Sansa. Oh man, but not even that different. She's the queen in the North. Like, she's just, all right, the North people are independent, huzzah, which is kind of where things were pushing anyway, and she's just a queen. Like, all right, we get that she's more of a badass now, but like, what has actually changed? What has improved in this world? What reason do we have to think that anything is any different except, just another big old war? It's another part of history. It's another part of Westeros' history that we'll, all look back on the same way we look back on the, Baratheon uprising in this show. When we write the next show, we'll just look back on this period again with Thrones, like, like the whole thing, the whole point of storytelling is why this story now? What makes this story the story? It's like The Hobbit versus Lord of the Rings. The Hobbit is the fun, a prequel book, because you're like, all right, well, this is just a fun adventure. It doesn't have the gravitas of Lord of the Rings. This is an age-shaping a story that rids the most potent evil in the land. And yes, there are other evils and there are different stuff, but this one is just like, there's nothing about this aside from the White Walkers, which you just skirted right by. I mean, that was your big difference between any other uprising or war or usurper or invader was the effing White Walkers. And you did so precious little with that, that it was just like that's just a blip on the radar. So at this point, you know, that's not the meaningful thing. It's not like, oh my God, this was the period in Westeros' history where we all came together to defeat the evil of the White Walkers. That's not even what happened. It was just like, this did happen. The White Walkers were a thing. Who cares? This was the period in history where like the Targaryens made a comeback and then they effed off again. Ha! There were dragons again, just like there were the last time. And now there aren't, but one's still alive somewhere. So who knows? How do dragons make more dragons? We don't really know. Maybe Drogon will fuck Daenerys and her dead body will make a dragon egg. It'll be a grand old time. We'll all have a good guffaw over it. What is the point? What was the point of any of this? What was the point? So little was accomplished, aside from just murdering a whole bunch of people. A whole lot of people died. What was the point? It's just, and again, it's like, I get it. If you want to write that story, if that's your whole thing, there was no point. Everything just goes back to the way it was. Like, we hope these people will do better, but we never will. It's just like a veiled commentary on, like, politics and government and stuff. It's like, you always try to shake things up and make change, but things sometimes just end up the same way. You just gotta hope for the best. Like, maybe, I guess, but like, wow, the whole characters, all the people we've invested in for so many seasons, so many of them just went nowhere. Or regressed, or like had these beautiful journeys and didn't come to any, like, who had a fulfilling ending? Whose ending in that show? Whose single person ending where you're like, yeah, that's right. I mean, aside from like maybe arguably Tyrion, right? Tyrion, you know, finishing up as the Hand, okay, he gets back to race, but the line where Bran's like, yes, you'll spend your lifetime, you know, fixing these mistakes. Like, okay, that's like, all right, we're happy because he's still alive. He made it to the end. He gets to, you know, have this position that he doesn't really want, but he'll probably be okay at, and huzzah. Like, that's... But who cares? Why does Bran even need an advisor? Because he already knows everything. Like, why does he even have a council of anything at all? He already knows everything. Like, yay, Davos gets a happy ending. I think we're all pretty pleased about that. But, like, he never really had much of an arc. He was always just, like, the good guy. He was just the moral guy who always did what was right, no matter who it served. So there's just no, like, Bran lived. Huzzah. Like, great. I'm delighted for him, but just why? Like, are we satisfied? I mean, because you don't even get him watching to like delight in his spoils all that much. There's a little, you know, oh, your debt's paid, yeah, debt's paid. Like, he did nothing in this entire season. He was there for like one episode. So this character that we built up and got invested into, we don't even get to watch that payout. We're like, just he got his payout. It's like so cheap. Everything was so rushed, so hard. It was like, all right, that person got what they deserved, that person got what they deserved, and we're just kind of telling you that, and just showing you really, really quickly, and not actually letting you sit in it and feel it. There was no time to feel anything. There wasn't even much time. There wasn't even any real time to feel or digest Dany's death. After that, it was that one even too was very abrupt. Jon, you got to do the right thing and make a choice right now. Okay, choice made right now. Stab. You know, if this was the older, you know, if this was the way the show used to be paced out, from that moment Tyrion has the talk with Jon about, like, you got to make your choice about what you're doing, this would have spawned, like, an entire season, at least, like, a 5-episode arc of machinations that would eventually end in him, you know, working up, realizing that he has to kill her or something, not just like, all right, next scene, walk in, shank, done. Like, that's not how, what else am I missing? There's got to be more things in this that I'm missing. What even happened to the Dothraki? They just, you know, this Unsullied, like, oh, we'll give you these lands, and they're like, we don't want these lands. We're just gonna go off to Narnia. Yes, I've decided to live in Narnia. Deal with it. Where did the Dothraki go? They don't like boats, so they just like peace out into the reach and like, oh, we live here now. I mean, they went down to Dorne because it's sand. I don't know. I mean, like, or did you just send them back? Do you just like package them back up, send them back to Amazon, be like, sorry, we don't need these anymore. We actually thought that the person who ordered them is kind of dead, so we can't use these. Here, take them back. Like, I'm just at a loss. I'm at a loss. Like, what? Somebody explain what the point of all that was. Why did I waste all that time? Why did I invest any time into this? It was just like, and that's the whole thing is like, it's the pointlessness of it. You know, you've heard me say a million times, I'm not invested in the show in terms of like, I thought it was going to be good or great or satisfying or this or the other, but like, it's just, this last episode was just so pointless. So pointless. It just erased so much of the point of anything else. The point of watching Game of Thrones used to be to see if the character you loved or hated was eventually going to get what they deserved. And even if they did in this one, again, it was so rushed that it didn't matter. So what? What was the why? Why did I do this? Why? It's just, what? All right, I'm done. I got nothing left. That was like a million miles a minute. Holy crap, this is over 20 minutes long. Anyway, what do you guys think? Did you enjoy the last episode of Game of Thrones? Let me know. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and press that like button. You got links popping up all over in just a minute here. It's got LA cheesesteak reviews. We got the promo coming out real soon. It's going to be super cool. So make sure you subscribe to LA cheesesteak reviews so you don't miss that when it drops. Get a Jesse Shot First t-shirt with original artwork by that Star Wars girl. Click on Get Involved with Me. That video will tell you everything you need to know about getting more involved in this channel. Patreon, Teespring, PayPal, Twitter at Jesse Milestone, Instagram at Mindless Entertainment. All that information is in there, including my mailing address and stuff like that. So thank you so much for being involved in this channel and caring. And I'm so sorry if you cared about Game of Thrones, because that's it. That's how it ends. That's all I got for right now. So God Empress out.